Yeah, we were just thinking about getting curtains or something. But just get it for the afternoon sun. That's awesome. We have 250. Oh, there's Annabelle.
If you're here. Okay, you're in Kansas history and you're around here. There she is. I do not see. Great.
I am a conservative constitutional Republican. I was going to talk about a lot of things, but I'm going to concentrate on one thing that I'm really upset about, and that's our current commissioner has just committed you, before the legislature passed the 1-cent sales tax. Is everybody pleased with that? No. Every state must have a high-risk pool formed, even if they have one, in addition to what they have. It can be run by the federal government, or it can be run by the state. If the federal government runs it and they run out of money, they're responsible for it. If we run it and we run out of money, we're responsible for what's left, at least according to the governors and the insurance commissioners from 21 other states. They all said, thank you, but no thank you, you do it. The estimates of the Minnesota governor, for example, was that the funding from the federal government would run out between 2011 and 2012. The law requires this to be funded clear through January 1 of 2014. That's 2.5 years. I talked to actuaries here and people that are involved with our current high-risk pool, and I said, how many people are we talking about in Kansas? 15, 20,000? They said, you're about half short. It's closer to 40,000. And you stop and think, who are the most needy, highest users of insurance than somebody that's gone through cancer, that's under chemo, that's had heart problems, that's diabetic, whatever. The premiums they're going to pay is just a little bit. And our high-risk pool people estimate that if we get half of those people, our funds from the federal government will run out in 6 months.
I want to talk a little bit about my background and why I'm qualified to run, talk a little bit about the state treasurer's office, and talk a little bit about some of the things that we need to do. There's a couple main roles, 3 of them really, that the treasurer does. One is managing the cash for the state, both from the standpoint of as taxes are paid or as fees are paid, the treasurer collects that and makes sure that that gets dispersed out to the right state agencies based on their budgets. As part of that also is, in between that flow, is managing the investments, making sure that we get a good, safe return on that money before it's needed to be spent. A couple people were joking with me when I filed to run for state treasurer. They said, oh, you want to go from the county to the state because there's less money there to have to manage. So that was their approach. So a couple other things that the state treasurer does that are really neat and really beneficial, and one of them in particular I'm really pumped up about, is that the state treasurer is the administrator for the Learning Quest Education Savings Program. And as most of you are familiar with that, it's a 529 plan that's set up under the state umbrella that anyone can make tax-deductible contributions to the education of any children, basically is what it's used for. One of the things that I've been talking a lot about as running through for the state treasurer's office is there's a couple of positions that the state treasurer is appointed to because of his position. And the one that I'm most concerned about is the KPERS, the Kansas Public Employee Retirement System. I don't know if you have seen, but recently the Pew Research Center did a study of all 50 states and the District of Columbia have all their public retirement programs, and Kansas was second from worst in terms of being funded for the liabilities that we have committed to our public employees. And I kind of have a vested interest in this because I'm enrolled in KPERS, and that's the only retirement system I have, so I want to make sure that we fund that. So I want to go run out and be the champion of KPERS, that it's a combination of things that over the years, maybe there's been overly optimistic assumptions of what the investments could mean. Maybe there wasn't enough funding made. Maybe there's some generous benefits that were promised over the years. But as it is right now, we have funded only 59% of the liabilities that we've committed to our employees. Now, that doesn't mean that people that are on capers now are not going to get their money, but it means that if we don't start now fixing it, that we won't have the money to fund people that are currently working and be able to make that a retirement program that they can rely on.